¿Qué onda, vatos? Thanks for tuning in to yet another video. Infamous coming at you live from the West Coast. We are doing a oil change on the Sportster. I removed my battery cover just so I could, have more access to this drain plug. I guess that's what you call it, or drain hose. Yeah, on the Evos, you have this hose here, and that's connected to your oil pan. And this is how you would drain your oil on this bike. So this bike has a little bit over 3,000. I already put 3,000 miles on it. I bought it from the original owner. He had a little bit over 2,000 miles on it. It's a 2016. So based off of just time, it's time for an oil change. Alright, so as I mentioned, I thought it was Pennzoil. It's not. It's Castrol. V-twin power, 20 weight, 50. So that's what I'm using. Based off of just recommendations, we're supposed to fill this up with 2 quarts and then see where your oil level's at, and then add some if needed. So that's what we're using. Of course, let's go get our pan, and we would loosen this up, which that looks like that's ready. And then we would just pull the plug out, and that would get rid of this old oil that we have. So like I said, I don't know when the last time the original owner changed it, but it's got 2016, it's now 2022. It's 6 years. He has AMS oil in this. That should be better than this. I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments. The dipstick is already out, so it's well ventilated. This stuff should come out a bit faster, and we're gonna drain this out first, and then we're gonna move over to the filter and then drain that out after. So there's the oil. It's not that bad. It looks a little brown. Not bad at all. Let me turn this around. I should turn this around because now it's leaking back that way when I want it to go down this way. So yes, this is vented. Have the dipstick out. I was gonna say something. I already forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, that's right. I rode the bike for about, I'd say, an hour. I was on the Sportster for about an hour. That just works out whatever oil you have settled at the bottom of your pan, and that it just lets the oil kind of flow out a little bit easier. Same thing. Same thing with oil, moisture. It just mixes up that stuff a little bit better, and it just helps it kind of come out throughout whatever's been sitting inside the engine. People have asked me what's 5K, 10K, 15K. I mean, it's nothing. Basically, technically, it's not like torquing down bolts or anything like that. Yes, you check your clutch line, you check your cables, look for wear and tear, look at your belt. It's mainly just safety inspections. That's all it is. I already mentioned this in my other videos. People want me to make a 5K video. I'll probably do the checkup, but I've already posted the owner's manual, the checklist, if you guys want to do that. If not, basically you just check your tires, you check your fluids, you check your brake fluid. Mine's brand new. I just did the handlebars not too long ago, so I know it's got fresh fluid. It's got fresh brake fluid. If this came into the shop and it had it was a 2016 and I saw low miles, I would think it's time for your brake fluid, because it's 5 years, if I remember right. It's every 5 years you want to change it out. If you don't hit the required miles, then it's time. It's always time because of the same thing. Alright, so we're gonna just let this drain out, and then we're gonna go ahead and move up to the oil filter. And since there is no, I believe that's a stock oil filter, I'm gonna have to find a claw or something to kind of grip it and take that out. Alright, let's move up. Before we move up, get a rag, clean this stuff out, of course. As far as torque specs, don't over tighten this. You have metal and rubber. If you tighten this too much, you're gonna start cutting into your hose. So you have this little stop right here is you can feel it. Basically, there's, I guess I'll call it lips. There's two lips. There's a lip here and there's a lip over here. Just put it there in between, and that ain't coming out. All right, don't over tighten it. Just having it tight enough to kind of hold it in front of this next section of cap, I guess. It's not gonna come out. Yeah, you should clean this up with a rag. Because why would you want to clean this up? Because if your driveway has an oil leak and you didn't wipe down your hose, then you don't know if your bike's leaking or if this is leaking. Alright, so now we're getting ready for the filter, and of course, like my Lowrider S video, grab something. You can grab foil, you can grab a disposable plate like this, or even a cup. I've seen a few people grab oil bottles like this, or like a 2-liter bottle of Coke, cut it in half and then just put that underneath. Of course, I'm gonna just put this in there. I'm gonna try to get as much as possible, but it's pretty much impossible to get absolutely everything. So let's see if I could get as close as possible to the base of the filter, because that's where it's coming from. So let's go ahead, grab this up. Looks like I'm gonna have to use sandpaper. I don't have the other. Yep. All right, let's go grab some sandpaper so I can get this out. That's how you know a dealership did this. When you have to crank down on it with sanding paper. Now there we go. I should be able to do it by hand. Let's push this a bit more because I feel like it's gonna leak. Just don't think it's gonna catch most of this, because I can see it in the back that it's not fully seated. So let's see what we get. Alright, so that looks like that's drained out pretty much. We are using, once again, Canyon oil filter for the Sportster. I have this on my Lowrider S. I believe it's KN171 on the M8 Softail. On the Sportster, it's KN, can you guys see that? 170. So that's for the Sportster, of course. Brand new in the box from Amazon, of course. And of course this has the socket, so you don't have to do this mess and look for this or look for sanding paper to get it out. You just get one of your ratchet and socket and just pull that out a lot easier. So let's go ahead and you know what, let's clean this up a little bit. Alright, so let's go ahead. This says it's actually pre-lube seal, but you know what, let's just go ahead and put that in there just in case. Grab your oil, open that sucker up, open it, just dip your finger like so, tilt the bottle a little bit, get a little bit of oil, and then just rub it up against the gasket or the seal, whatever you want to call it. So like in my other video, like I mentioned, why do you do this? So the seal doesn't pop out when you're installing the oil filter and there's no lubrication. It grips, and I've seen it before, it pops out and it makes a complete mess. So always put a little dab of oil, and then I'm going to just fill it up, maybe just a tad bit, maybe there, just so I could have some oil in the oil filter. And that looks good. Go ahead and just seat that like so. Like I said, don't overdo it. It needs to be nice and smooth. Do not cross thread anything. And as soon as it's seated like so, you give it about half a turn more. You don't have to crank down on this, or else it's gonna take you a minute to pull out. But since we have a socket, it should be a little bit easier to pull this oil filter if you overdo it. But man, most of the time I could take this off with my hand. So let's just go ahead and let's mark. Let's do, what is this, 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock. So we should end at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. That's it. That's half a turn. So seated, half a turn. Of course, we are gonna turn the bike on, see if the oil light comes off. If it doesn't, we'll add a little bit more of oil. And then we're gonna run it. After we run it, let the air come out, let the air work out of the pen, and then we'll check our dipstick. So yeah, that's on there, half a turn. I think maybe you could even do a quarter more. Yeah, 3/4 turn, hand tighten. Don't put your ratchet on there. Don't don't crack down on it. Don't do any of that. Just do it by hand. We did half a turn plus a quarter turn, so 3/4 of a turn. You're fine. All right, leave it alone. Don't overdo it, because you're gonna have trouble taking this thing off at your next service interval. We're gonna go ahead and just put this back where it goes. And there you go. That is now on the frame where it used to go, or where it's supposed to go. Let's go ahead and grab our battery cover, put that back on there, make sure there's nothing pinching, and then just make sure that snaps on there. Alright, so we're almost done here. We're gonna go ahead and dump out 2 quarts. Let's go ahead and put the cap back on there. Let's turn the bike on. Alright, so remove your oil dipstick, clean it up so you have a good reading. Put that back in there, seat it down all the way. Let's see if I can find it. There you go. Completely, alright, you don't have to do this, but hey, let's just do it for the sake of the video. Alright, so that's fully seated. Pull that out and you'll see where you're at. And I am right at the bottom. Of course, the bike is up on the driveway, so this could change. Alright, check oil hot. It is hot. It's at 220 degrees and it's touching just the tip. Alright, so that's saying fill it a little bit more. Here it says here 1 quart, so that's fill a bit more. You're supposed to be in this area, and if you're up here, you're really high. So let's go ahead and put a little bit more. Like I said, this is on the driveway, so it is on an incline. It is not leveled, so keep that in mind. I'm only going to put a little bit more, so I want it kind of right here in this area in the middle. Nice little safe space, a little safe spot, mainly because yeah, breather bolts, it burns oil, it shoots it into your jugs. That's why you always want to put a little bit more, because you'll eventually have to put more in it down the road. Seated. Well, there it is. Of course, you could turn the bike back on, let it run for another minute, but it was right there, as you guys saw. I'm happy with that. I'm going to take it out for a spin, and then I'm going to take it out for a spin, ride it for a couple minutes, and then recheck the oil level but it seems like 2.5 quarts does the job. Anyways, thanks for tuning in to yet another video. Castrol V-twin oil. This is the same stuff that I have in my lowrider S. Of course, you could, change. If you don't think the quality of the oil is that great, you could change it every 3,000 miles. I'm gonna just stick with this and change it at 5,000. So my next interval would be at 8,000 miles. That's when I'll change my oil again. So I bought a pack of 6. I have enough for my lowrider S as well, because I have some left over. It's a good deal. All right, it's cheaper than Harley, that's for sure. The prices that Harley has. So let's go ahead and take her out for a spin. Thanks for tuning in. Don't believe everything you read. Life's a risk. Get out there and ride. Later.